It's a weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's Rave TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey everyone, welcome to our InfoComm 2025 edition of Rave TV.
Or at least day one
edition. Gary, I'm so excited to be in person with you. I don't remember the last time we hung out in person.
I know, we do everything online. It seems like we barely see each other anymore. But yeah, it's great to be here at the show. Last time we were together doing a show like this was ISE. Yeah. We always love doing these shows live from the show floor. And we always, of course, we have two guests with us. I guess we should explain. But I guess we should probably first say you're watching Rave TV, which is our weekly live TV show. Comes on every Wednesday at 9 a.m. We restream at noon live worldwide, and we've been doing it for about 3.5 years. Of course, at trade shows, we do one every single day. Mm-hmm. So even though this is a Wednesday, this is an odd Wednesday. So you're watching this from a trade show. We're actually in the Shore booth, who's actually, interestingly enough, one of our sponsors. One of our sponsors and our exclusive Rave TV at InfoComm sponsor. So shout out to Shore for letting us use this. This is actually just a ploy to get to sit down. So we should definitely allow our guests to introduce themselves. Why don't you start?
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm an AV technician with ABI SPL. Happy to be here.
And Eric?
Yeah, Eric Hutto, the CEO of Diversified.
This is pretty awesome to have the CEO of Diversified here and the newly minted winner of the Young AV Professional. What exactly, technically, what was the award?
It is the Mary Cook Empowerment Award. Mary Cook was a major trailblazer in our industry, and it's by women in AV and IT. Wave It is the organization, and they kind of put out this scholarship for career growth and experiential learning, and I couldn't be more grateful. I couldn't be more excited to be here and be a part of it.
Well, we're gonna talk to you about the award in just a second, and the honor. It's amazing. First off, to have both of you here. I know both of you are busy and you got other things to do, so I'm honored that you're willing to spend a little bit of time with us. I want to ask Steph, what have you seen on the show floor so far that's excited you?
What has excited me? So it's not necessarily a technology as much as it is a trend. What I'm seeing a lot of just from, my walk, the 2 hours, a couple hours that it's been open, I have seen a lot of good, better, best options that they are now offering on the show floor.
That's a good trend. You're right.
I don't think that they used to have that. It was either a very cheap option or a very expensive option. And I think that what people are starting to recognize is that's just not how everyone's money works.
Yeah.
And they need to have a lot of options, where people are switching from CapEx to OpEx and just, in the way that money is.
Slowly switching. They should be switching to OpEx, but we'll talk actually to Eric about that because I would love to get his take on that because I feel like the customers want to buy OpEx, but we haven't, as an industry, totally figured that out yet. But I could be wrong. The couple of things I saw on the show for multi-taction, I got a chance to play with their table.
Oh, okay.
Touch table. I'm going to show you a video of that right now. This is a little video I shot with my phone. And you can see how it recognizes objects. It recognizes different objects and pulls up different menus based on that. So this is interactive signage. Mm-hmm. Also, it's a kind of way to keep your kids busy while you're trying to shop. So I could see Nordstrom putting this in the shoe department. Imagine how much money they'd make if they could keep those kids occupied while people are shopping for shoes. That's where they make all their money.
I've seen it also in action at wine bars. Yeah. So that it recognizes the type of glass it is, so that it can give you information about the wine you're drinking, which is really cool.
I don't know anything about wines.
Well.
And then here's the row booth. Now this is hard to tell. I want you to look really carefully at this. It's hard to tell, but basically this is a panel structure and the LEDs behind it. So these are physical panels, and there's laminates, and you can actually use rock, and you can actually use, like I said, stone, or you can use wood. And they actually have it's almost like the LEDs mounted behind it, and it gives a halo effect to it.
Is this the collaboration with Seiko?
Seiko collaboration, and we've actually done videos on that, but it just looks beautiful. I like the integration of it. This is a good example of how our industry is doing a good job of marrying, traditional analog and digital together, rather than trying to blow up your mind when you walk into a lobby with just digital, right?
Yes.
And kind of connecting the dots, because not everybody wants to be overwhelmed in signage.
No, we're bringing in architectural beauty into AV now, and I think that that's another really big thing that's coming, especially in hospitality, where maybe you don't want a giant, like display that's just looks like a regular display, or a video wall. You want something that's a little more architectural and looks like a gorgeous wood paneled wall when it's off. And I think
has aesthetic. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. That is the problem with LCD technology. When it's off, it looks terrible.
Amen to that.
There's no way to make it look good.
Yeah.
Samsung did a really good job with the frame, with the concept of playing content.
Yes.
But at the same time, interestingly enough, a lot of those monitors can't play 24/7, 365.
No, they can't.
So you have the issues of that. And then third, I wanted to show you this. This is an e-paper demo that Dynascan's doing. I think e-paper, I think it has huge potential.
Absolutely.
But it'll be interesting to see how quickly it catches on, because although everyone likes it, it's a lot more expensive to put in an e-paper up front than an LCD, but long term it's cheaper to run.
And it can be tough to change the content out. That is the one thing that I have noticed, is that there's a lot of hullabaloo, which not a lot.
Well, you're not supposed to change the content on e-paper. You're supposed to just make it a sign, right?
But if you're a store, the sign can't be the same for 100 years.
Starbucks
you're
is
selling
going to
something
change
new.
Correct. Starbucks is going to change your menu from the morning to the afternoon.
So,
those afternoon drinks.
We're seeing updates every year, though, which I think is exciting. So I think it's getting easier to use and to do every year.
The younger our industry gets, meaning more youth that come up in our industry, the more energy conscious our industry will become. Right now, we're an energy hog.
Yeah.
People under the age of 35, they care about that much more than people older than 35.
We do.
And I think that will drive some of these technologies that are more expensive to be adopted quicker.
I absolutely agree.
I agree with that.
Do you want to talk to our guests now?
I'd love to. Who are we going to start with?
All right, let's start with Eric.
All right.
Eric,
are you
welcome.
okay with that?
Totally.
Okay.
Eric, welcome to the hot seat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
How do we get the president of Diversified to take time off the show floor and join our show?
I sent him an email.
That's about how it happens. And we're glad to be here. Love the show. This and NAB and IC, the others are our big shows.
Yeah.
And so this is where we get to come and learn about the technologies, what's trending, and we get to also help influence that, as I know Spell does too. So, we think about how does this industry live another 5, 10, 15 years in a healthy way with so much converging.
Yeah.
And that's why we're always love to be here with our engineers, always love to be learning.
Well, you're the second largest integrator in the world, I believe, not too far behind the largest. And I don't know that that really matters, but what does matter with regard to that is you see every kind of application and every kind of customer. Right. And I'm curious, and I know Steph's got some specific questions, I'm curious what sort of trends you're noticing that would be worthy of mentioning in a show like this.
Well, one, we're somewhat unique because we have a media, broadcasting, and a workplace business.
Okay.
What we're seeing, obviously, it's even over the last 18 months, is the convergence of that into a hybrid experience where you give the ability to create experiences in workplaces. If you think about 3-5 years from now, workplace isn't a place, it's a platform.
Yeah.
And that platform delivers what you need it to deliver in an experience and the outcomes you're looking for. And we're going to be held more accountable to the outcome, not to the project completion.
I think 100% agree, because people aren't going to want to come to a boring office.
Right.
I mean, I did a session yesterday, and weirdly enough, I made the statement. I put up cubicle land, looking cubicles, and I said, cubicle land is dead. Even Steel Case says it's dead. Yeah. And in my class was a VP at Steel Case who came up to me at the end of the session and said, you're 100% right. We don't believe that's the future either. We're changing the way we design our furniture, and we're talking to AV companies about making sure that tech is integrated into everything we do.
Yeah,
that's what we've been waiting for.
We actually have expanded our advisory services because what I believe coming out of IT services for 20 years is people want outcomes. They don't want to buy a product or service, they just want an outcome. If you understand that outcome, then you can actually orchestrate all this great technology that's sitting on this floor into an experience that is superior than what they had. And now they're getting more, you talk about OpEx, CapEx, getting much more conscious about capital and how they deploy it. If you're a CFO, you're annoyed when we're refreshing rooms every 3 years, right? But they're depreciating them 5 to 7.
Yeah.
And so what I saw as a trend on the floor is more and more of our partners are out there putting in more firmware. It's more software oriented.
Yeah.
So now this asset can live longer, but yet can do more. And so and a lot of them have been, time on ground has been the key metric that I've thought about since I joined the company 3 years ago, and that's not our friend. We need to be able to get in and out, right?
Yeah.
And so as we think about that, how much can be done remotely? How much can be, now with AI, it's just going to be auto-configured and commissioned and fix itself. All that's now possible, and we're seeing that acceleration and a lot of the new technology that they're talking about.
And as a service is kind of walking hand in hand with that,
Yeah, absolutely.
How have you seen that kind of changed since you've been kind of at the helm?
I think I would agree that it depends on which side of the house you're on. On our
Yeah.
media side, much faster to go to the OpEx models, and people don't want heavy control rooms anymore. We've put it in the cloud. You can operate it with 3 people now, not 12 people.
Yeah.
And all that work's been done in the last 2 years. On the workplace side, I think it's a bit slower, to your point. It's hard to imagine how even companies of our size can handle all that capital. Even though you have financing and all the bank relationships, it's still the cost of capital these days is high.
Yeah.
And if you're JP Morgan Chase, your cost of capital is way cheaper than mine.
Yeah.
So you'll still buy it, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely. How have you seen Diversified change since you've been at the helm?
Well, I will tell people that we're not an integrator. It's what we do. It's something we do as part of our company. But we're really more of a technology solution company. So if you go back 3 years, we couldn't talk about cloud very much or cyber.
Absolutely.
And no one was really integrating that thought into how they advise the clients to I kind of orchestrate their solutions. And so we've moved past that, and integration is still very much what we do. It's important. It builds the infrastructure for all this cool stuff to run on.
Absolutely.
But we have to think more about, well, what's that doing for us? What's the ROI? How's the client's outcome? When I think about workplace, even in my chair, I sit and think, I either have a collaboration problem or I have an attraction of talent and retention problem. Like, how do I get younger people to come there? They're not coming for the old technology we give them.
Yeah.
So really the workplace is more about almost a home technology package, not just the office technology package. And we don't blend those two. We will have less collaboration and certainly less people looking at our industry because it's just not a fun place to be.
Absolutely.
I think you're in an interesting position because you came from the IT side. Our industry's rapidly moving to emulate what IT did. So I feel like you kind of have a head start because you have that knowledge base from your previous roles. How quickly are we going to see that transition, not just CapEx to OpEx, but really managing things, or true managed services? Because what we do, if you call managed services, you said that to an IT person, they'd be like, what? This isn't managed services.
Well, I mean, look, it's where we are today.
Yeah.
Our buyer's changing. So on the workplace side, we still deal with a lot of facilities managers and directors and VPs.
Yeah.
On the media side, the CIO is taking more and more over.
Yeah.
So a lot of our big media clients, they're already CIOs. They've already been buying managed services. So that concept is not a hard sell. In fact, what it is are we ready to do it?
So it's the right person. It's finding the right person is the first key.
Yeah.
And usually there's more than one stakeholder in a project like that anyway, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Live venues, high performance venues, broadcasting, they can't go down. So SLAs, much more expected. Liability to that SLA being broken, having a breach, those things are big on their side. On the workplace side, it's a lot about if you're a whole building of rooms and 3 are down, you'll get to them, but they don't want to pay for the 4-hour service.
Yeah.
They're okay with next day because they got 30 other conference rooms to use.
Right.
Now, if it's happens to be the chairman of the CEO's conference room, that might be different.
Or classrooms on a college campus.
That's right.
Even though there's a lot of other classrooms, it is not easy to move from one classroom to the other classroom.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
So it has to be up all the time. So it depends on the application, depends on the customer,
Exactly.
and who the stakeholder really is.
And we want to help them be mindful of their costs. So we won't want to sell them a 4-hour SLA when we know it's more cost effective if it's 2 day.
Yeah.
Because of that ability to flex.
Yeah.
Whereas a live venue, it's pretty much you're up all the time.
For sure.
Excellent.
So of what you can share to me and Gary, who are 2 members of the media, what can we expect from Diversified over this next year?
Well, internally, the acceleration of obviously AI, obviously let us operate more efficiently, help our service people in the field and help our clients and the people who support them on site to do their job better. I don't need administration done by our talent, right? We want them to focus on the talent. What they bring is knowledge and experience, consultative conversations, listening more. So we've already got AI doing all the simple stuff, taking meeting notes and freeing up our project managers to be more active with our clients. But you think about AI agents, and I think it's one of the big trends coming. We already are moving AI agents into supply chain.
Yeah.
We're using them now in marketing. Pretty soon, you'll see, I think, very quickly in workplaces, the agent will be part of the meeting.
Yeah.
And they're not just in this background, they're actually, think about when I want to hold my staff call, and I want to look at the latest call the ball sales report. Well, the AI agent will go out and grab it and present it. I don't have to have anybody stop and give me a second, how that goes today. So I think a lot of that is how you'll see it, and we'll evolve it quicker.
Yeah.
We're pushing co-innovation with all of our partners in some of the forefronts of this software and cloud, and just thinking about how we get people to adapt to what we think is much more of an experience that we can deliver. Infrastructure, a lot of infrastructure debt in our industry, as you know. Signs today won't be able to do what VR and AR is going to expect them to do.
Yeah.
Sound and video are the most exciting things, I think, on the show floor. And for the next 5 years, that's what will change our experience.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
No, great points. Last question for you. Where can people find more information on Diversified?
OneDiversified.com. And just go there. We revamped our website. We changed our brand last year and some what we focus on. A lot of great case studies now out there so people can see it live, understand more about what it really means when we say we do this particular thing. Or just give me a call. I'll take that call.
There you go. All right.
Perfect. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your
appreciate you joining
time.
us.
Absolutely.
I know you've got things you got to do. I doubt you want to hang out with us the rest of the time.
Actually, I would love to. I actually would love to hear about the Mary Cook Award and
great.
Alexandra
Well, we are happy
and what
to
she's
have
doing
you.
because she's exactly what we need in our industry.
Yes.
So.
Alexandra, first of all, thank you so much also for taking time out of, this is your first InfoComm, right?
This is my first InfoComm.
So thank you for taking time out of your first very busy InfoComm to come and sit with us for a few minutes. We really appreciate it. So first of all, tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Alex. I'm an AV Level 2 technician with ABI SPL, and I really found myself getting into the industry through art. That's really what I talk about. I went to film school along with high school for 3 of my years, and I also learned how to play the guitar at a really young age. So what I always talk about is how amazing these arts are as creative outlets, and then at the end of the day, what keeps the set running and what keeps the studio running? It's all AV.
Yeah.
So really I found myself learning AV at a very young age and falling in love with what it can do and what it can make happen. To get that shot, to get that right sound, to get the visuals that you want, to get you listening to the best audio quality it can. I was making that happen for a long time, and I fell in love with it. It feels like magic. If something's broken and you make it work, it feels like magic.
So how long
Absolutely.
have you been at ABI SPL?
2 years.
So I got a question for you. When you're at a party and your friends ask what you do, I want you to tell me exactly what you say. Give me the pitch.
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
It's interesting because it is so hard to tell people what we do.
Oh,
Yes.
the worst.
The best thing that happened to our industry was when the pandemic, everyone jumped on Zoom because you could say, well, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We do Zoom.
Right.
Yeah.
At least they would have some
Yeah,
reference.
that's what I tell my grandparents.
Yeah, but
How do you simplify it to your grandparents?
Yeah.
That's the question.
I'm like, look, how we make that happen, and they're like, okay.
Well,
Anyway.
on a related note, what do we have to do as an industry to get more people like you? How do we fix this problem? I mean, you walk around the show floor, you can see there's a big age gap, right, between you and everyone else here. How do we get more people like you? What do we have to do better as an industry to attract young talent?
That's a good question. I think if I could say anything to people in my demographic specifically, it would be to not be afraid to go against the grain. I think more technical roles people can shy away from because they can feel labor intensive or they can feel intimidating. But I think if people work to inspire more and maybe put out examples of what other people are doing, then they can see themselves. Mm-hmm. That's a lot about representation. So if you find an opportunity to spotlight someone, then go for that. Because I know if I'm seeing someone like me doing something that I want to do it too, and I'm going to make it happen. So I think if there are any opportunities for inspiration and representation, then I think that's a key there.
And I think the work that Wave It is doing by going out in the community and for young people to find out that our industry is real and is a thing is half the battle. So the work that Wave It's doing and going out in the community and finding young people and telling them that our industry exists and there's a place for them in it, I think that that's a lot of the important stuff too. So I think things like the scholarship to bring people who are relatively new to the industry like you to InfoComm to see all that's out there, that's an important part too.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been wonderful. I'm learning so much. It's inspiring, really. It's inspiring.
Have you worked on any cool projects that you are just like, wow, this is really neat?
Yeah, I was at my previous site and they had a graveyard of Surface Hubs, Microsoft Surface Hubs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar
Oh,
with
yeah.
portable
Familiar with it,
conferencing units. Yeah.
I don't think Microsoft realized they had it, but yeah.
Yeah. I say graveyard, meaning there was an issue with all of them, right?
Yeah.
There's issues with tech. If you have people like us to fix them. I troubleshot them, and I was curious one day. I had some downtime, you know, between meetings, just like we all have, and I got curious about these devices. I love Surface Hubs. I love Microsoft Surface Hubs. I think they're the coolest thing, and you could do so much with them, really.
Absolutely.
And people love them too. People love them in their meetings and events. So I got curious one day and was poking around them. I was using Cat 5 cables, Cat 6 cables, network cables to kind of get them alive, and digging into some of our IT services, asking a fellow consultant. And I figured out the problem to bring these things back to life. They had like 10 down devices just living on their site, not in use.
Wow.
So I figured out the problem to the devices and why they weren't working, and I fixed them. And I one by one I got all these devices working, and I actually implemented them back into the environment. And
wow.
And my client contact, a wonderful mentor of mine on that site, he put me in front of one of the C-suites of digital innovation at the company and had me present the device, and it's working and its functions. So that was incredibly rewarding. I was super excited, and I just love these devices, and I got curious about them, and I wanted to fix them, right? I'm a tech. I love to fix. I love to make things work. So that was very, very exciting to kind of bring them back, and people were using them, and I hooked them up to one of our systems for a live event. I had the audio feed, video feed coming from all its respective sources, and I integrated it into a live event, and they loved it. So that was really exciting.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Have you, like when you were in like elementary school, you probably had smart boards and all the projectors in the classrooms and stuff. Have you connected the dots between our industry and that? Because what we have found is a lot of people had smart boards, but they weren't actually being used as smart boards. They were more being used as screens for projectors to project on and things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even connect the dots that is Smart Technologies, the company in our industry. And did you connect those dots before getting into our industry?
So I gotta tell you, I didn't have smart boards in elementary school. If we had, well, let me backtrack. My last grade, 8th grade, right, is the last grade of elementary school. We had a smart board integration, but it wasn't a screen. It was just a whiteboard, and you could print and copy. I actually didn't have that level of smart technology when I was in elementary. So I have, and the sites that I've been on have been public companies, not educational institutions, but. Yeah, so I actually didn't have that type of technology.
That's
when I was
still amazing
school.
that you found your way into our industry, because, like, for example, when my first foray into the industry was, I was the one that knew how to thread the projector in middle school. And that was literally, ask Gary, send him to the classroom, because he knows how to thread the projector.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was AV, right? I mean, that's part of AV, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's all these pieces. There's so much here. There's 800, 900 exhibitors here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize. So I guess I would do a call out to you. Help us figure that out. Help us solve that problem where we get enough young people in this industry. I have 2 daughters, both in their 20s. One of them is a paralegal. I mean, they grew up knowing that I was in the industry, coming to the shows. The other one finally got into the industry at 29 years old. It took a long time. And I think that we're just doing something wrong we're just not doing enough to get young people in the industry. So anything you do to help would be awesome.
Man,
get involved with Avixa, get involved with all these committees, and help bring some young talent to our industry.
Well, you know, what I would say to young people, right? Branch out.
Yeah.
I feel like in order to find things that you don't know are there, you have to try and look for them. Yeah. And you have to be a yes person. And you have to go out and grab things. Things aren't just going to fall into your lap, right? You're not just going to find information out of thin air. I feel like you have to be hungry. I feel like you have to want to learn to find these things that are hard to find. For some reason, absolutely, the knowledge that AV is an industry and is a real place is hard to find.
Yeah, it is very
Why
hard.
is that? That's a really interesting question. I think we have to inspire each other to be hungry.
Yeah.
And wherever that hunger is going to come, I'd say whatever inspires you in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Whatever inspires you in your day-to-day life, lean into that. I play music. I play my music on the side. Whatever gets you up in the morning, keep on your inspirations, because I think that feeds your next step into wanting more. If you're doing more, you're going to want more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Eric, I would say, companies like yours are going to be critical in that, because
Yeah.
you're going to have to outreach to high schools and to community colleges, because that's where we're going to get the talent from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Colleges, traditional colleges and universities are arrogant about their curriculum, and they're not going to let AV become part of their curriculum. But community colleges and high schools, they're looking for ways to get students who may not want to go to college, may not want to spend 4 years going to a traditional college,
And
into AV.
it's up to us too, Gary,
Yeah.
because we gotta highlight cool people like Alex,
That's right.
who
We
are
gotta do a
young
better
people
job,
and
too.
in our industry, and keep giving them as much of a platform as we can.
Yeah, and in
So-
fact, we are going to do a show floor. Actually, Steph's going to go do a show
Yeah.
floor tour right now.
Yep,
And
we have
so
a commercial coming up.
we got a quick commercial from Shore. I want to thank Eric. I want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I know that you're probably overwhelmed being the first show, and you're all of a sudden here, but you're the future of the industry, and I'm excited to meet you. I think what you're doing is amazing, and
Yeah.
congratulations on the well-deserved award.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's so mutual. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, and Eric, thank you for joining us. I
Thank
know
you
you're really
all.
busy.
Congratulations.
Steph, go
again.
do your tour.
All right.
Check out this message from Shore.
Hey everyone, I'm back, Steph Beckett. We're finishing off this episode of Rave TV. Thanks so much to Shure, by the way. We are going to take a quick walk through part of the convention center. So we're going to kind of head down. This is like the busiest aisle, and this is what everyone wants to see anyways, how many people are here. So let's do it. I'm starting over here, over at View Wall. They are all about intelligent video wall management, KVM solutions. They have a lot of their video wall solutions back here. So as you can see, we have a video wall turned to a digital canvas, all types of information being shown here, perfect for command and control. We have dicolor LED over here, kind of showing a curved, more like almost like a virtual production-ish solution. Like this is a very, very crisp, curved LED here. Let's keep going. I'm seeing a lot of curved LEDs this year, because we have this one too, kind of showcasing how you can get this really smooth wrap. This is going to be perfect for like Times Square, outside of a hotel, any one of those. Not too thin of a pixel pitch here, but of course this is kind of, I think it's 1.95 pixel pitch, but let's continue on. We are at Uniview, by the way. So they have a few of their LEDs hanging over here. We have a gorgeous Uniview over to my left. Let's continue on and see who else has something interesting. I saw a lot of people congregating over here, and I'm interested to see what they are looking at over here at the MuxWave booth. So let's make our way over here. Of course, we have a wall right here. We have a chip-on-board micro LED from them. I'm seeing a lot of chip-on-board micro LED technology this year.
I've always done it.
And of course, yeah, we're making our way over here, passing Vanguard, and we are going over here to MuxWave because people are absolutely obsessed with the holographic invisible screen. I'm gonna try to get Dalton to get as much of a detail as he can get, but this is literally as thin as a screened-in porch screen, but it's LED and it's holographic, and it is literally so thin. I wonder, Dalton, can we go in there and show everyone how thin it is? Can you just reach up your arms that high? Incredible. That's one of the thinnest that I've ever seen. That's so cool. So they're showcasing it in a few different ways. We got Mr. Mario, we got a lipstick. We got a burger that's making me kind of hungry. So let's continue on here. I'm going to lose Dalton. Honestly, I've been waiting until how long it's going to take until I lose him. Okay, here we have, this is my favorite. I love when people turn LED into art. This is like this is kind of what my house looks like. So as you can see, AV is no longer about just a display, an LCD that's just completely dark when it's off. I love solutions like this that are made to be on all of the time, but most of these don't consume that much energy. So love that TCL's kind of leaning into this at their booth as well. I'm in everyone's way. Shocker. So over here, this is Forte, formerly AVI Systems, big integrator in our industry. They have a big booth this year because they are showcasing their new branding, their new name. I'm going to be talking to a few people from Forte tomorrow on Rave TV. I'm excited to kind of hear a little bit about how the new branding is working, because I do like the name Forte more than I liked the name AVI Systems. We have Peerless over here. Everybody knows Peerless because they are a very popular mount company in our industry. They do everything from smart mount wall mounts. They also have kiosks. They're a really big kiosk company. We can come and look at one of these. The Bespoke. So yes, one of the things they do are smart mounts for all different types of displays, but they're also really, really big for kiosks. You can see the how the LEDs are put together over on the backing here. So let's keep going and just kind of see what we can see else on the show floor. Over here we have Jupiter to my left. Jupiter, the big and very early proponents of 21.9 in the AV industry. And as you can see, they're showcasing 21.9 here. One of the first ones I remember seeing. So here they're showcasing it in more of an entertainment format, but back there we're showcasing it in a command and control format. And of course, where 21.9 shines mostly is in UC, but there's so much more that you can do with it than Microsoft Front Row, and I like that they're really leaning into that this year. Over here, Planar has pulled out all the stops, honey. They have the Direct Light Essential Series. This is the new chip on board version, which is kind of leading to the Direct Light Good, Better, Best. And this is chip on board, so it is like a different price point. But as you can see, this is gorgeous. This is 8K, 160-inch diagonal, I believe, 0.7 millimeter. Over here is their rental curvable option. They have a gorgeous column leaning up, and I like that they utilize their own displays as their name to come and find their booth. I think that was really creative, absolutely gorgeous, perfect for rental and staging, and very easy to put together, very modular, as you can see kind of from the under part. So we're gonna keep going here and just see what else that we can see on the show floor. Very busy, by the way. This is day one of the show. And while I am, I'm not having a hard time moving about the halls, it is very busy. It's electric on the show floor, which is something that I love. Optima over here, they're very busy because they're showing a golf simulator here in their booth. Dalton, if you want to get a little closer, get some detail shots to show everyone what the golf simulator looks like. Very popular, of course, in the Pro AV setting. You're going to see these in like restaurants, kind of like light commercial, but a lot of people put these in their houses now too. Not me, but people. So we have someone practicing their swing. Wow. Amazing. All right, let's continue on and see what else we can see on the show floor. So we have InfoLED over here on my right. InfoLED showing a lot of their versions of LED as well. So we have the MC Cube and a few different others kind of offering what different pixel pitches look like, all on some modular versions. This is my personal favorite though. I think that that's so creative, and I'm loving seeing more creative uses of LED and this gorgeous, gorgeous curved at the very, very back here. A very light curve on it, which is actually really hard to do, and this is gorgeous. Perfect for virtual production, perfect for really anything where you need that really crisp look, but might need to curve at a hotel lobby, anything like that. So let's come over here to my good friends over at Draper. If you guys know Penny Settler at Draper, this is her last InfoComm. She announced that she is retiring, which is really sad. I'm going to miss her. But I love that Draper is fully leaning into the tiki bar theme. Draper is a glue company in our industry. They make everything from shades to the backstops for basketball boards. And they are completely made in America. They are in Spiceland, Indiana. They have a great factory. And yeah, they make a lot of cool things. Very like modular, the glue, the things that hold the displays and the other things in AV together. So love the look here in Draper's booth. I love the we're partying. So of course, we can't do a booth tour or a walkthrough without one, having y'all check out Barco, which, oh my gosh, Barco is so busy right now. Which, you know, what do you expect? It's Barco, because they make everything. So the ClickShare is, of course, very busy. They just announced the ClickShare Hub, so I know that is a really big product that everyone is really busy with right now, of course. So ClickShare Hub is the modular room system for 4K content sharing with USB-C. So very, very excited to see the ClickShare Hub here at Barco's booth. That was just announced, I think, a couple days ago. And what do we have here? The Rave Reader's Choice Award. So glad to see that they are really, really thrilled about winning this as the favorite UC product of 2025 for ClickShare Conference. So let's continue on here and go check out what Shure is doing. Shure is celebrating their 100th birthday. So we have to wish Shure a very happy birthday. And as you can see, it's popping over here at the Shure booth. Gary and I were in the enclosure, which is the media hub, earlier. But what kind of tour host would I be if I didn't at least take you through some of Shure's booth? So one of my favorite parts is over here, where you can kind of see their ads throughout the years, which I think is so fun. And they really are leading into like celebrating 100 years and what the past 100 years have looked like for them, which I think is really great. So love that. So over here, we got our MXA tile. We know her, we love her. One of the most popular like ceiling mics in our market, but also of course showing the full kitted solution for the IntelliMix room kit. Continuing on here, Shure announced their move more into the speaker market, and we're showcasing that here in this conference room setup. So as you can see, MXA 920, a few other things here. And let's continue on to see what else we can see. I'm interested to see if I can get my hands on the MXWs, but I think that they're quite popular. So are those over here? Oh, yes. So, of course, a very popular product is the MXW. This is the 2, but they now have 4 and 8. So the great thing about this is, of course, is you have your dock here. Great for teachers who maybe share mics. You can reset it to whatever dock. This is the boundary mic version, so this is going to be what you speak into as a teacher, but they also have one that clips on. They have a handheld mic, and to charge it, you just stick it right back here in this dock. And of course, it syncs up with whatever dock you plug it into, so a teacher could keep this as their microphone. It's great, and I think that that's why they made a 4 and an 8 option, which also won Rave Awards. So continuing on here, it's very chaotic, very chaotic. I'm very surprised that I did not lose Dalton. So, oh yes, here is the 8 version, and there's also a gooseneck version for these now. So the gooseneck one is going to be great for you to set it at your seat so that you don't have to move it around like you do with the boundary mic version or the stick mic version. And then, of course, when you're done, you can just put it back in its dock. So they have a lot of different versions of this now, and it's really exciting. That's a really, really big release for them. So, all right, I think we're going to end this very chaotic show floor tour right here at Shure's booth, as we should. So thank you for watching. Again, I'm Steph Beckett. This has been another episode of Rave TV, and shout out to Shure for being our Rave TV at InfoComm 2025 sponsor. All right, see you guys next time.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's Rave TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.